Hey there. So today we're going to talk about cosmetic adult orthodontics, and then we'll touch base a little bit about teens. And I have two of our patients, Carla Marie and Sarah, that they are with me today, and we're going to talk about their experience having two different appliances. Both of them went through the cosmetic orthodontic treatment. And the goal is to help you decide what is available for you, what are the pros and cons of each options, and make you basically help you to walk through the process and pick the right choice for you, because there's always the right choice for you. And for everybody, it's very, very different. And so what we're going to talk a little bit about what is cosmetic orthodontic treatment. Generally, adult patients are looking for these kind of treatment, but we're getting these days more teens that are interested in cosmetic care. And, conventionally, aligners or, Invisalign is a common term that we hear in the clinic, is the one that we hear that the patient come in, they're like, I want a cosmetic treatment and I want everything to be clear and I want Invisalign. So we're going to use clear aligner, which is a general term for Invisalign. Invisalign is one type of clear aligners. There's so many others on the market, including our aligner, which is called ortholiners. And then we're also going to talk about lingual braces. So cosmetic treatment are generally goes two directions. One is a fixed appliance. Appliances are glued on the surface of the teeth. In the cosmetic situation, we put them behind the teeth. And then aligners is going to be another option that you get clear plastics. And we'll talk a little bit about how these plastics works, but that's an alternative. You could also opt for cosmetic braces, which are basically ceramic braces. They don't show as much as conventional metal braces, but still you will notice the braces. And generally the wire that we use are just the same wire we use with metal braces. All right, so I'm just going to pass it to Sarah so she can talk a little bit about aligner and her experience, and then we'll continue our discussion.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Sarah. I actually just decided to go to Dr. Roux's because my teeth had shifted so much. I had braces when I was 15, never wore my aligners. So they were pretty bad, especially my lower teeth. But I was in a professional setting where I did have a lot of meetings and a lot of FaceTime. And so I didn't want full-on braces again. So I decided to go with ortholiners, which Dr. Roux's mentioned he produces in-house. And so something that was attractive to me is that he did it in-house and, he could make those changes right on the spot and make the treatment go fast. So I did get through my treatment pretty quick, but I guess there are pain points too that I want to mention. I liked that I was able to take them out, but with that, you also have to be very responsible because you have to put them back in. They can only be out 2 hours a day. So that's your eating, that's your coffee time. So if you're someone who sips on coffee a lot.
What about wine? That's the problem.
Yeah, that was an issue. So it's like, you have to chug and then put them back in. No, but truly, I had a timer going on my phone. Actually, when I took them out, I would start my timer. And then, if I'm out with friends or if I had plans to go out later, I would just budget that time, right? So I would have quick meals during the day and then have, I'll have an hour later where I can be retainer or aligner free. Mm-hmm. So there was that. And then there's, you got to keep them clean. So every time you take them out and then put them back in, you have to both brush your teeth, brush the aligners and replace them. So that was probably the hardest thing to do, but I was working a desk job. So for me, for the most part, that wasn't a huge deal. If you're on the road all the time, I would say that's something to consider.
So I'm just going to add something else in here as the point that Sarah made. There are other reasons that some of our patients decide to go with aligner or don't go with aligners. One of the biggest things that I always mention to both teens and adults is that when your treatment is a little bit over a year, let's say a year and a half or 2 years, depending on the complexity of a care, you got to think about past 1 year is where I see a lot of aligner fatigue, where the day-to-day operation can burn you down. So that's another factor to consider. So if you had orthodontic treatment before, or for whatever reason, you're a teenager with minimum crowding or a little bit of a work that it's, kind of get wrapped up in 9 months to 12 months, I think aligners is very, very appealing. I actually like in some cases that the patient opts to use aligners. So that's the time factor, and that kind of like a 12 months mile mark is something that you want to consider. And then also the habit that you have. Some patients are just love to snack. If you're a person that you're, heavy snacker, then you want to think about it. Some patients opt to use aligners specifically to kind of change their eating habits. So it can go so many different directions. And I think the key is to think about all the aspects of it and go into the treatment knowing what to expect. Because the biggest challenge that we see is that when we have a teenager come in and we're like, I want aligners are the best thing. And I was like, okay, we start. And then 4 months into treatment, they're like, oh no, this is too much. I never expected this. When I take these off, my teeth hurts, which is the case.
Yeah.
Or I lose this stuff. And then we switch sometimes the appliances to different appliances, both ways, either braces outside, braces inside, or aligners. But it's something that you want to consider.
Yeah. And I will say also, I saw that as a benefit, the snacking thing, because it's kind of like I said, I was working a desk job at the time. And every time I passed through the office, I would grab a little bite.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that. I mean, you could, but then I'm like, is that really worth brushing my teeth, doing the whole routine? So that was a plus for me, but definitely something to consider. So
perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to pass this to 𝗪𝗪𝘁 so she can talk a little bit about lingual braces, which are great alternative to aligners.
So I didn't know what lingual braces were until I went to Ports and I was like, I want aligners. And you doctors were like, well, have you heard of lingual braces? And I was like, what are these things? Which also they've been around for what you said, about 15 years at this point.
Way more. It's just they're not very popular because there are a limited number of orthodontists are using it. It's a very technical appliance. Not everybody wants to spend time to do it. I mean, the appointments generally, they're less frequent, but they take a little longer.
Yeah.
You need to have a team that they understand it, they can support you.
So lingual braces are just metal braces inside on the back end of your teeth. So you can't see that I'm wearing them right now. I even have a rubber band on. That's the newest part of my treatment. And you can't see it unless I go right up to the camera and show you. But I am a huge fan of this because my job is on camera all the time. So I'm doing a show, whether it's live or producing content. And I had aligners in the past, didn't wear my retainers. So Sarah and I have that in common, and they shifted, and I wanted something that would be more permanent, really adjust my bite this time. So that is why I went specifically with lingual braces. And I didn't want to be popping out those aligners for an hour to 2 hours a day for a show, and then also to eat and do all of the other things. So this was a perfect fit for me. I was concerned with having a lisp. I think there are some words I still get hung up on, but it's part of the journey for me, and it's been fun. It's been part of the show that I do, where it's okay if I lisp because everyone knows it's because of my lingual braces. But it's really not as bad as I thought it would be when it came to terms of lisp and all of that. And I overall am so happy that I personally chose lingual braces for me specifically. You do have to brush your teeth, obviously, after every time you eat, but you don't have to take anything out. You just eat, but you can't eat hard things like fried chicken, which I've learned now twice because I busted 2 brackets off of fried chicken. So there's that con of where you do have to limit the types of things you're eating. Tacos, they can get jammed in there if you're having a hard shell taco. So there are certain things that, like Sarah mentioned, that, you have to change your lifestyle with the aligners. For me, it's like, I can't take these out. So these are things that I have to be super careful of now for 12 to 14 months. But it's all for a great smile at the end. So it's worth it.
Exactly. And I think one thing that, we need to think about it when you go and you decide to start orthodontic treatment. To me, there is no perfect appliance. All of them, they have good stuff and they have bad stuff. And if the net effect is positive, then the patient is happy, right? So, certain patients come to us and say that I want a cosmetic treatment and I want lingual because I know that aligner is not for me. We have nurses that they don't want to put their hands in their mouth because they're going long shifts. There are kids that they're at school that don't want to deal with it. So there's so many different reasons that you can opt to use lingual versus the aligners. And then I'm going to ask a question from 𝗪𝗪𝘁, and I'll try to comment on that a little bit. What we generally hear from people when they think about lingual braces, like when you show the people the photo of a lingual braces, the first immediate response is that these are going to cut through your tongue. They're going to be bad. How can you tolerate this? So I'll let 𝗪𝗪𝘁 to talk a little bit about her experience, and then I'll add a few things that are kind of like to break these kind of stigma that lingual braces are absolutely, crucial, and they're not going to let you to have your day-to-day operation.
Yeah, I get that question all the time. It's like, aren't you ripping up your tongue? And I was like, no, your tongue kind of, and I think you told me this, it kind of just learns that there is something there, and it adjusts in a sense. In the very beginning, I'd say I did have some soreness, but when I say very beginning, I mean like first 3 days, and now it's fine. Even when I get a new wire on, totally fine. Every once in a while, I'll wake up because I am grinding and biting in my sleep, and my tongue may have done something weird in there, but it's not anything to make you think, oh, I don't want to get those at all. It's totally fine. And I don't even notice they're there half the time. The first 3 days, I was like, oh my God, there's metal in my mouth. How am I going to get through this? I can't eat. And now, like I said, I just forget that I can't eat hard things, and I go to eat them because it's normal to have them there now.
Exactly. So generally the first, in the range of days to maybe a few weeks, I try to say 4 weeks, because to take the hardest potential problem, right, these braces, you get used to these, and the tongue is sitting there, and you have a foreign, object in your teeth sitting there. So your tongue is very curious to see what is going on there. And that kind of get dropped overall. But the key is to we give you special home care. We use the special tools that we have. We give you special silicone to cover it. As soon as you go through that curve, which is, maximum 4 weeks, then you would not notice that are sitting there. I mean, unless you break something or we change the wire, sometimes it's a little bit harder, but collectively, majority of the patient that they get to the end of the lingual braces, they are very, very happy. And the common question that I get from the people is like, why not everybody wants these? And it's just, it happened too frequently to me that, one of my goals is to try to put this in front of the patient and say that, if you don't want aligners, this is another alternative, right? And aligners are great. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. It's just each of them, they have their own advantages. And it depends on which one would you prefer to use.
It's kind of like a car. Like what do you do with your life? Are you hiking all the time? Are you going off-roading? Do you have kids? Or do you have a long drive to work? Do you have a short drive to work? So it's like, what is your lifestyle? And that's how you have to pick what's best for you. Or what are your habits? Like Sarah was saying, like, do you snack a lot? Do you not snack a lot? What do you do, and how does it fit best for your life? And that's the best way to look at it.
Yes, exactly. And I think, when you think about the cosmetic orthodontic treatment, it used to be like, okay, so before aligners, like 30 years ago, it was like, here are the metal braces, put it on and enjoy it. Like, and this is your only option. And then you got lingual braces. They didn't pick up as much as aligner, but then suddenly aligner came along and everybody's so excited about it. Orthodontists got better with them. We can do very, very complicated treatment with aligners. So aligners are becoming a norm. Right. But then the question is that aligner is it for everybody? Is it like everybody is a good candidate for aligners? I don't think so. I think everybody is a good candidate for the appliance that matches their lifestyle. As 𝗪𝗪𝘁 said, like, there's so many different cars out there. And the advantage that you have as a patient today is that you have options. So you can pick whatever you want that is going to help you to succeed in your treatment.
Well, and Dr. Ruz, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say this is irresponsible not to say, because it's unfair to lingual braces, is the lisp. You get that too with the aligners. And I just wanted to say it took me about 2 months to get used to them. And I remember I would have certain meetings where I just couldn't focus if I had them in, because I couldn't stand myself talking. So I would actually have to take them out during certain meetings just in the beginning, and then you get used to it. But so I just wanted to say that is a similar thing between what 𝗪𝗪𝘁 was saying
Exactly.
aligners.
But you could pop them out. I just got to deal with it.
Right. But you probably, your learning curve probably happened a lot faster because I cheated, you know?
That's true. So. That is very true. But Dr. Rose, like you said earlier, that, and this is one of the things you had said to me a few weeks ago at one of my appointments, you can switch if it's necessary throughout your treatment. So for example, you had gave me the option of possibly taking off the top wire and going with an aligner. And then I was like, oh my God, that would be too much for me to handle two different things. But I'm obviously happy that what we're doing now is perfect for what
exactly
I need. But yeah, you can switch. And that's, I don't think a lot of people realize that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So switching is something that some clinic will let you do it. Some clinic will do it complimentary to your treatment. It covers the cost of initial, whatever that you're paying for the treatment. Some clinic, they would charge you extra money for it because they need to be fabricated, all these appliances. But switching between appliances is also becoming a new normal, right? As there are more aligner companies out in the market, they offer different type of aligners packages. Some of them, they give you aligners that are like, okay, I'll give you a certain number of aligners and you can use it through the course of treatment. So now orthodontists, sometimes they start with conventional metal braces and you're like, I want cosmetic. I don't want to deal with lingual. I would want to just like get the fastest treatment and I don't want to deal with a lot of aligners. So we start them with the conventional metal braces and then we go through the treatment and after like 6 months, 9 months, switch them to aligners. So they get a good chunk of their treatment, let's say 50% or 40% of their aligners, 50% or 60% with fixed appliances, with conventional braces. And this is going to help them to set up for success with aligners. And then you don't need to wear braces too long. So this idea of switching is also another, I would say, a kind of like in the middle ground of cosmetic care that you can still have a short period of time of conventional metal braces if you don't want lingual. I mean, lingual is something that we sit and go through it through the course of the treatment. You can obviously switch if you're interested. So, I can tell like what I love about orthodontics these days, there's so many options for the patient. You can have any patient walk into the clinic and, we talk to them, figure out what they like, figure out their lifestyle, and then there is a solution for them, which could be, a mix and match of different appliances. It could be lingual braces, it could be aligners. That's the advantage of, what we have today in orthodontics. I'm going to ask both of you to just kind of come with some key points from the appliances that you have, especially for like teens. We get a lot of young female patient like you ladies, and they want to know a lot of things. They heard something from their friends and they're like, okay, I want aligners or I want lingual. And I want to just like kind of give them a few things that they got to think about it when they decide to get braces.
Oh boy. Let me go back to being.
It's like a loaded.
I'm like, what are you doing when you're a teenager? You're making TikTok videos all the time. So
well, I wasn't.
Right? Me neither. I wasn't either. But now I'm making TikTok videos all the time. So I don't have to worry about taking out my aligners when I do that. But personally, I'm obviously going to tell you go with lingual braces because I know me and I know my habits. And if someone who has had aligners in the past, I didn't have the best self-control, like Sarah mentioned earlier, about putting them back in. And I got into a habit of like, oh, I don't feel like putting them back in right now, or I just won't sleep with them tonight. I'll put them on. And then it elongates your treatment. And if you're a teenager, I feel like you're also in that situation where you just don't have all the self-control in the world and you're going to want to not put them in. Maybe you're going with your friends to get ice cream and you'll just put them back in when you get home, whatever it is. Lingual braces, they're on there, they're not coming off, and you're going to get through your treatment. And then that's it. It's just a year of your life that you have to worry about, and boom, you're done. So that's why I like them. If you don't have self-control, go with lingual braces.
Perfect.
So, and I liked the Porth aligners because I felt they were totally invisible. I could take them out if I wanted to. And, something to consider, because when I was a teenager, I didn't have a desk job, right? I was on the go all the time, always with friends, like out doing things. So that is something, you'd always have to have your, care kit with you. But there are times where I would eat, I was kind of in a pickle. I had to just put them in without brushing. And then as soon as I got home, I would brush and do that. So it's an option. But I think more than anything, you just have to know what kind of person you are. If you're someone who's pretty organized and can say, okay, 2 hours a day, they can be out, and you're good at managing that, then I think you could do it. And I loved mine, and I would do it all over again. But yeah, that would be the thing.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think that one of the things that I like about both of you being our patients is that it's not one is better than the other.
No.
Like it works for both the people with two different, maybe a little bit different personality, different, kind of habits, and they kind of give you, and, the outcome that you get from both of these appliances are amazing, because the teeth don't know how I'm going to move them or how an orthodontist is going to move them. It's more like the technical stuff toward us orthodontists to know how to move the teeth. And then whatever appliances that you pick, we can get you to the end. Overall, you have very similar outcome, right? So that's the key on making decisions. So, that I would say you just got to think about, where do you want to go with your appliances and how committed are you with either of these two? Any final thoughts?
Go to Porth, because everyone's amazing and nice, and they will help you if you break a bracket last minute. They will get you in there. That's for sure. I know firsthand.
That's awesome.
All righty. Sounds good. Thank you so much. I appreciate for all your help. And
thank you, Dr. Rose.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at these smiles. Come on.
I know. How happy are we? And I wear my retainer now. So
let's talk a little bit about retainers, Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Your treatment.
Yeah, that's my future, Sarah. Help me. Tell me about it.
Tell 𝗪𝗃𝘁 what she has to do.
Wear them. You have to wear them.
Yes.
So yeah, I actually found these really attractive little cups. I actually sent the link to Ellie. So you probably don't want to
have it on our YouTube channel so they can go look at it. Yeah, for sure.
So, but I found these pretty cute little cups that you can leave out on your sink. So every morning I take them out and I clean them and I put them in this solution. And then at night I could take them out. So it's like, they look good on my vanity. And so that oddly enough helps.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I see them every morning. I know that I have to, clean them. And then at night, I know I have to put them in. So
whatever, get them on at night and, keep it consistent to prevent moving of the teeth.
Yeah.
Do you have to wear them every night?
You do.
Yes.
But I have my husband's a horrible patient and he skips like here and there and he's fine, but I'm not risking it again.
So in the beginning, you want to wear it all the time, but then every night. And then after a few years, you can go to like a few nights.
Okay. Good to know.
That's the goal. Just like you buy a toothbrush every, 3 months, 1 month, whatever schedule that you work on based on your toothbrushes. It's the same thing with a liner, with retainers. So you want to basically have one. They last for about 6 to 9 months. You got to get a fresh one because the plastic loses properties of holding the teeth, and also it smells. They get crack and holes on them. So fresh retainer every 6 to 9 months will take care of your smile.
Yeah, I mean we love you and the whole team, Dr. Rose, but we don't want to come back.
Yes.
Yeah.